Blood and Salt by Kim Liggett. Read to you by me. Chapter 7. Evolution. The sun rose, flooding the car with hazy lemon light. I knew it was stupid, but it felt like nothing bad could happen to us as long as the sun was shining. As the light skimmed my brother's face, he jerked awake as if he'd come out of a nightmare. Raking his fingers through his hair, he let out a deep sigh. Pennsylvania? He asked as we passed a horse-drawn buggy with bright orange reflective triangles on the back. Inside the buggy, kids about our age stared back at us with some kind of alien fascination. Our faces must have held. Ohio. I'm sorry, he stretched out his legs. How long was I out? 6 hours. I've got the next shift. We need gas, again, I said as I pulled off the highway. Up ahead stood an old white house with a sweeping front porch that had been converted into a gas station/base shop. The paint was peeling off in sheets, and seemed like one stiff breeze could blow the whole thing to smithereens. I pulled up to the gas pump, where I swung its door open just as a pickup truck pulled into the parking lot behind us, nearly clipping him. 2 husky men got out, dressed from head to toe in camo. The bigger one, with a reddish goatee, slammed a beer and let out a gag-worthy belch. See that dumb look on his face when we stood up from the blind? He was like, "Oh shit, man." His friend laughed so hard he had to stop to catch his breath, and then he went crazy on the sides. Boom! They gave each other a series of sloppy high fives before shredding inside. I get there are people who hunt to feed their families, I said to Rhys, but these guys have a brand new truck with tricked out radials and, oh my god, a Nickelback bumper sticker. They aren't living off the land. Whatever they killed is going on their will. Don't go PTA on me. PETA on me. Not here, Rhys said, as he peeled a crisp $100 bill from one of the stacks and stuffed it in his blazer pocket. Seriously, how can they call that a sport? I asked as I popped the gas cap. Yeah, I really don't want to be on their wall either, so keep it down. Rhys headed inside. I pumped gas. I stick around the back side for something that would pass as breakfast. I finally settled on a warm Dr. Pepper. While opening the can, I accidentally slipped my finger on the sharp aluminum edge. Damn. I stuck my finger in my mouth to slow the bleeding. And then there was a long wisp of honey-covered hair hovering in the wind above the bed of the hunter's truck. I dropped the can as the wet hiss of soda seeped into the gravel. A sick feeling twisted my insides, refusing to let go. Animals didn't have hair like that. I did. Cautiously, I walked over to the back of the truck. As I pulled up on the shiny chrome handle to lower the door, my body went numb. There, lying on her side, was the dead girl. I stared in dark fascination. I'd never seen her lying down before. Her back was turned to me, but her left arm was stretched out beneath her, exposing the deep slash in the palm of her hand. Seeping blood. I followed the rope, knotted around her mottled ankles to find the rest of it coiled next to her like a cobra waiting to strike. The bottoms of her feet were caked in fresh soil. A mass of dark blonde waves covered her face, but I knew it was her, the same girl I'd seen my entire life. Me. Without another thought, I climbed into the bed of the truck, accidentally brushing my leg against a pile of rope. That eerily familiar crinkling sound sent a chill marching up my spine. Just the feel of it against my skin made my blood bubble in revulsion. I kicked free of the rope, but the dread never left me. Every particle of my being told me to run, but I had to see her face. Katya said I was tied to her. I needed to understand what that meant. My hand trembled as I reached down and grasped her shoulder, gently pulling her toward me. Her skin was cold, but I'd never felt so warm. I felt life surging through me. Pure power, tangling just beneath the surface of my skin. Right before I was ripped from my consciousness, I fought to hang on, but I felt myself disappearing into another time. Give me your arm. Coronando commands as he pulls a blazing hot iron from the embers. The breeze catches Alonso's hair, whipping it around his face. He steals a glance at me before stepping forward to comply. His face is so beautiful, it makes me want to weep. As Coronando drags the tip of the iron Across the tender skin on the inside of Alonso's forearm, I cringe. The sickeningly sweet smell of burning flesh empowers my senses. I clench the folds of my gown, but keep my face expressionless. If Cornando discovers my true feelings for Alonso, he won't hesitate to throw him overboard. I claim you as one of the Arachnum. You belong to me now. Coronado finishes the mark, then pours a bucket of sea water over his handiwork. I hear Alonso's skin sizzle. The pain from salt in his wound must be excruciating, but Alonso stands like a statue staring over the endless ocean, separating us from the new world. Coronado and his soldiers retreat to the lower deck for another night of drunken tall tales. Alonso sinks to the floor, cradling his arm. I go to him, touching his wrist. He flinches. Do you trust me? I ask. Yes, he whispers, clenching his hand into a fist. I reach out for his arm again, gently rolling up his dirty shirt sleeve. Wiping my finger against the sharp edge of his dagger, I coax my blood to the surface and hold a finger above his cut. He stops me. What will your blood do to me? He looks at me through long, wild strands of sun-kissed hair. Take the pain and make your scar mark quickly, but you will bear his mark forever. He pulls me closer. It won't make me immortal? No, I answer, stunned by how painful I find the notion of Alonso remaining mortal. You'll be bound to Coronado. I feel his warm breath pulsing against my cheek. I would rather die 1,000 deaths, I whisper, meeting his gaze. He presses my cut finger into his wound. He sucks a shallow breath through his teeth, and I see the brute muscles in his shoulders relax. As the pain is extinguished, his flesh heals into a thick rope, revealing Corondo's signet, a winged creature crudely etched into his skin. I run my now healed finger across the brand. Your body is only a vessel. You belong to no one. You're wrong, he says, golden brown eyes settling on mine. I belong to you. The creak of the screen door wedged me back to the present. Ash! I spun around to see my brother hurrying down the steps. What do you think you're doing? You see her? I whispered. I don't know what's going on with you, he said as he approached me with his hands raised in front of him, as if he were going to sue the wild animal. But you need to get out of this truck now. Those guys could come back any second. I can't leave her like this. I reached to touch her in full. Short, rough fur against my fingers. I whipped around to find my knees, nestled against a white diamond-shaped patch of hair just above the ribcage of a young buck, his torso riddled with bullet holes. The deer's leg twitched. I scrambled out of the truck, knocking my brother to the ground. The deer got to its feet in the bed of the truck, blinking its dark eyes at us. It shook its antlers as if shaking off death, and leapt across the road majestically and disappeared into the thick woods. The screen door creaked open. Rhys and I took off running back toward the car. My heart was pounding, which meant my brother was probably about to have a coronary. The hunters strolled down the porch steps toward their truck, toothpicks dangling from their lips, looking totally content until they saw the empty space where their trophy used to be. Sam Hale, the guy with the goatee, yelled as he looked under the truck. Son of a bitch! The other one screamed as he paced a lot. Did somebody steal him? My hand slipped in the driver's side as I got to the passenger seat. My brother's hand was shaking as he pressed the ignition button. Do you need me to drive? I asked. No, he snapped as we pulled away. I watched in anticipation, hoping to catch a glimpse of the deer. I wanted one last look to know it was real. What just happened? Rhys yelled as he emerged onto the highway. How did you know it wasn't dead? Why would you touch it? I saw the dead girl. Where? Rhys looked around in panic, momentarily swerving to the two-lane highway. Back there in the truck. Wait. You're telling me you thought the deer was the dead girl? She seemed so real, I whispered as I rocked back and forth in my seat, trying to figure out what the hell was going on with me. Rhys, I turned toward him. I think Mom was right. I think I might seriously be a conduit. And the protection marks. They're not working anymore. There was a long silence that neither of us knew how to fill. Can you at least clean the blood off your hands? Rhys finally said, looking like he was going to vomit. I'm sorry. I didn't realize. I dug the first aid kit out of the blood box open and ripped open an alcohol pack. I braced myself for the sting of the alcohol on my index finger, but it never came. Wiping off the blood, I found nothing there, not a scratch. I could have sworn I sliced my finger on the edge of the aluminum, but I could have sworn a lot of things lately. I guess this is what it meant to be a conduit. We needed to find Mom soon, so she could fix me. I didn't know how much longer I could take this. I crammed the first aid kit into my backpack, then pressed the side of my brown and green. Rhys had slowed down past another buggy when an old wooden billboard caught my attention. The rapture is coming. It was written in large block lettering. Perched on top of the sign were two black birds, crows, the harbinger of death. One for each of us.